This was very touch and go. I just come out from under. Let's turn it round. So we've improvised. Our outside broadcast unit consists of a parasol and a chair, but I can't quite get the chair in the right position. So hopefully, can't even see the screen now. Hopefully that it doesn't become heavier rain, because I don't know how well this sound is going to come through the microphone. It's been very touch and go. 1 minute it's sunshine and the next thing it's rain, and it seems to be coming down heavy now and doesn't look to be like it's going to stop, but we'll persevere, and we won't let the external dampen our spirits. So talking of oh, here we go. Oh dear, oh dear. So we can angle this a bit better. Hi, whoever you are that's tuned in, thank you for joining us. If you could just give us a comment, can you hear this okay, or is the rain got so loud that it's making it difficult to hear? Wow. Still, this was forecast, and it's a challenge. Let's see if we can change the weather. So we have had some sunshine, but now in the last 5 minutes it's decided to be less than pleasant. This is dear oh dear. The wind doesn't help with the sideways rain either. Oh, I just see this. If I move the camera down, I can. I've got the. Yeah, I'm getting wet here. Maybe this wasn't such a great idea after all. But we'll persevere as best we can. Dear oh dear. So, good grief. I don't know if you can see just how this weather is. This is not Portugal, this is more like a summer's day in Scotland. I might have done better going out in a little rowing boat in the middle of the Atlantic, I think. I might have had better luck with the weather than this. Dear oh dear oh dear. And the noise of this rain on this, it's actually a parasol, not an umbrella, but it does the job, mostly. Oh dear. Excuse me. Right, got some comments. Can you hear me fine? That's brilliant. How's the roof holding up? It's standing the test very well. I've still got to do the plastic sheeting on the end part, do a slight modification, but I need a drier and less windy day to do it on. So to start off with, let's look at the Great Pyramid of Giza, the physiology and how that is replicated. So if you consider on a military parade ground, the standing to attention is like the pillar of man. But there is such a thing as stand easy, where the legs are apart. which are not too far out from the 51 degrees. So the lower half is sort of replicating that sort of angle if you're looking at the Great Pyramid from one side. And obviously the name Giza, in a sort of slang term in English, means a man. So you hear the expression a diamond geezer, someone who's come up trumps, as it were, in whatever the thing is, an opinion of another upon another. That hi Leonardo, where was I? Completely lost the train of thought. This is totally unscripted, but there is a sort of script in the mind. So rather than doing like the military, going from standing to attention to standing easy, where you've got the definite thud of a footprint, I thought, let's go with the flow on this one. So now it's stopped raining a little bit, we'll come out into the road. So going from the standing, so hopefully you can see this, rather than the definite stamp, just slide your foot across and stand easy. Hopefully that you could see that. Let's go back under the dry. Wow, a vehicle coming by. That's really unusual. So what we're doing, rather than making that lockstep vibration into the earth, it's far more subtle, because we're following the good vibe, the other hidden hand, which is the benefactor hand in this reality. Now, last Monday across Europe there was power outages, and I said at the time that it's a prelude to the positive energy, and certainly Thursday, which sparked all this and ended up with the idea of going live, was that not the power outage but the beneficial power on age, if that's such a word. And several of you that I spoke to were obviously picking up on that same vibe and had beautiful days just watching everything all unfold. And I thought, well, that's just wonderful, and still riding on that wave at the moment. Is it going to stop? It's starting to brighten up again. See, we do have equal power. If you put enough thought into it, it can become reality. So I remembered the future before doing this. It's like I'm going to be standing here in sunshine, not howling winds and torrential rain, and it seems to be tipping in favour. As you can see, we've got blue skies, but we're already 8 minutes in, and the dramatic, this is what the weather's like, or has been the last few days. And March and April were very, very much like this. So we get on to the first topic. Now, you may have heard many times I've said on video that the 4 is a door. So what came into the mind, I think it's the song called The End by The Doors. There's also another song called Break On Through to the Other Side. These are esoteric messages. But in this song, I'm pretty sure it's the end. I should have checked really. There's a line, or a couple of lines, it's ride the snake to the lake. The snake, he's long, 7 miles long, he's old, and his skin is cold. That is a sort of metaphor for the spirit. The 7 miles refers to the 7 chakras. Now, this is going to seem really convoluted where I'm going with this. So, ride the snake to the lake. So that's down near the sort of bladder region, you could say. So that's the solar plexus. So ride the snake. So you would mount the snake. So mounting a snake would be like Monty Python, and is often said on or between sketches on Monty Python was, and now for something completely different. So I thought this is why we're going to do a live, because with Thursday, that feeling of I feel alive, regardless of all that is external, just this feeling of I feel alive. It's like this is the power on rather than the power outage. We've had the rain, and sure enough, I love it when nature choreographs. I'm talking about different things so we can come out into the open, and that hopefully will reflect with the sun will come out from behind that cloud. So what I sort of wanted to talk about, something that came in the mind, was then and now. The then that I'm going to talk about, it's funny what sticks in the mind, and it comes from a sketch by Bill Bailey, English musician stroke comedian. If you've never seen any of his sketches, particularly one about I've gone off on a tangent, but we'll come back to the topic proper in a moment. He did a lovely sketch on the influence of Cockney music on classical music. So as an example of that would be in the Grieg piano concerto, where you get the reference to Have a Banana. So the theme of the piano concerto, if I remember correctly, goes on da 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 da, have a banana. Something like that anyway. I can't do anywhere near as good as Bill Bailey, but another little sketch, and this is the talking about the then. I don't know how many of you recall those catalogue shopping, the catalogue shopping. In the UK, there was a particular chain, I don't know if it still exists, called Argos. And you're not going into a shop, you're not going into a store, you're going into a catalogue showroom. And it was all laid out, so you've got these tables, waist heights you can stand up against, and you can look at the catalogues which have every page separated into individual plastic pockets, and you can look at all kinds of items, household and clothing, music, computers, you name it. They sort of sold everything and anything. And then you took this 7-figure catalogue number, and you get a little thing like a betting slip. So it's a guaranteed win. So then when you go to the counter, which was sort of something that almost resembled a sort of like a hotel reception or an airport reception, you'd have this counter, and then everything that comes down on the conveyor belt tonight, because you'd have this conveyor belt, this sort of like almost like material magic of these items coming down, and you'd pay for your goods, and then it would be go to collection at point A or B, and so on. So what came out of this, and where this is going, is about the word occurred. What can that really mean? Oh, something has occurred to me, and this all did come into the mind. It did occur to me, and it's not something I would have ever done, although I possibly would have done at the time, because hello, Damiana. You don't like the rain either, do you? No. She's got the cutest little meow. She really has. Little heart-melting meow. It's like you can't say no to her. She's like this. She's all loving. Oh, don't roll on the dirt in the wet. Ah, where were we? we've digressed. We've been catnapped. So you get this little piece of paper and you put in this catalogue number. It's a guaranteed win, like when you go into a betting shop, basically. And it's like, I want to possess them all, everything in the catalogue. It's the difference between the then and the now, because do you see an Argos catalogue shop anywhere here? Not in my world. I don't even know if they still exist. But I certainly wouldn't want any of it. I mean, have you ever heard of getting heirloom furniture that was that chipboard that was with a laminated wood effect with real wooden handles, self-assembly, which you assemble them once was okay, but if you dismantle them and then put them back together, the sort of joins where the screws go into the compressed sawdust doesn't hold, so I don't think there'd be any handed down to generations of that kind of furniture. It's as we've moved, even in that era, into this throwaway, nothing is meant to last, planned obsolescence. Because you're going to go back and buy another one, you see. So you could pretty much buy anything. It was sort of the medium range to the budget, but dressed up as something spectacular. But what I was thinking about this, or rather what came into the mind, you imagine the situation, a work situation. Someone has got one up on you, but you're now going to play the devious, I'm going to get my own back. But you do it in such a way that is really well thought out, as it were. Oh, Damiano, you're all wet. In which you won't outwardly show that you dislike this person. Damiano, what are you doing? Climbing up me now. It's not like they haven't got food or anything. So it's not that they're hungry. Anyway, so you become friends with this person, this work colleague, shall we say. We'll put it in that context. And they're telling you how they're going to go and buy this thing on Saturday from Argos. So you think, here's an opportunity. So you make sure you get up early on that Saturday morning. You go down to the store, you tap in the little number on the thing, and you find they've only got one in stock. So you buy it, just out of spite. But you can go for other places with this. What you could do is you could come up with a backstory, because if this is ostensibly a really good friend, the fun you could have with this, in that he may phone you up and say, I went down the store and they haven't got any in stock. So you've got a golden opportunity. You can now become the hero in the drama, and you can say, well, you never guess what, I was going past that store this morning and I remember you said you were going to buy this item, so I bought it because there was only one in stock. So now look how you've turned that round. Or you can say, well, I'd forgotten I've got one at home that I don't use, and I'll let you have it, but it costs me a £5 more than you're paying for it. Or you could say, I'll let you have it at the cost price. What you're doing then is grooming this guy, getting your own back in a very different way, because they would feel indebted to you, because it looks like you've done them a favour. But look at the intent behind that. It wasn't with an honest intention in the first place. This is the big difference with things, and this is why it occurred to me, because if we break the word down, the oc part is the ocular, to do with sight. The is the error, and the ed makes it past because the past is dead. So that's what the word occurred means. So when something occurs to you, I mean, it would be a sort of shitty thing to do in a way, very self-serving to go down that route. What are we up to now? 20 minutes. So, although the weather's nice, but I don't know how long this takes to process onto YouTube for the replay. But leading on from the Argos catalogue shop and all the things they would sell, reminded me that there is always a collector for anything and everything. And I don't know how many of you that are listening are from the UK, but do you remember those Skoda cars? I feel it's better to put this in an American context and to possibly any American audience here. Basically, your hood is where your trunk is, and your trunk is where your hood is, because it's a rear-engine car. They always seem to sit so there's like they're going to launch off, because they always seem like heavy at the back. And the joke was that why do they put a heated rear screen? It's so your hands don't get cold when you push the car. Well, if a car won't start because the battery's flat, well, how's the heated screen going to work? So I never sort of saw the joke in the same way as most. But yeah, had these cars been built in the 1950s or 60s, then they might have seemed quite good. But same with all the other Eastern European cars. Like the Lada was another one. It was just a Fiat from a tried and tested design. That's probably the best of them. But the ultimate would be the Trabant. And I can imagine if they were still made today, this crazy world, it's like there is a requirement that you must wear a seatbelt. But these Trabants, the bodywork would never rust because they were basically made of paper mache. So you're basically sitting in an oversized cardboard box. So really, is a seatbelt going to help? Are you going to end up like a fly squashed in a ball of A4 paper? You know, it's sort of one of those things about this reality. Nothing makes sense because it's not meant to make sense. Have we got any more comments here? Because I don't know if this scrolls up or not. This is all new, this going live thing. Was there anything else? Yeah, so I remember, I forget where it was now, there was this front of this house and they'd got 6 of these Skodas, and it's like, it just shows there's one man's muck is another man's money, or as it were. But I also feel as well, because those cars had such a reputation, there was a time when probably peer pressure was actually a good thing, because there was the whole, I know it's all from the material side, but that's what we're talking about with the catalogue shops anyway. That was the then. It's like, I wouldn't say no to a rear engine Skoda if it got me up the hill. Yeah, that was another thing that was really touch and go about doing this live. I woke up in the middle of the night, got up to go to the toilet. You'd think I'd done a sprint. I was breathless. And I think I was up for about 3 hours, all because of this damp weather. Is the place a test to discern where we really belong? Yes. Now, you may have heard the term agnostic, where you don't want to diagnostic. This is a diagnostic zone. Where do we learn best? From making mistakes. So, what you perceive as mistakes are just reflections of this world. It's whether we can recognize these things. It comes down to perception. Was it a mistake? Think of it in terms of a computer game. So, we use Mario because that's the one I sort of know of. And you've got to jump over the turtle, otherwise it pushes you off the screen. So you go into that game totally innocent, like you come into this world totally innocent. Now you've got to learn where you are And don't mess around getting stuck on, I wonder if those brick tunnels came first, or the castle came first, or the hills in the background came first. You're in a simulation, basically. So you're learning to master overcoming the obstacles and the challenges, collecting the true wealth, which is the hidden coins in the actual game. Gorgeous turquoise sky. Yes, well, it depends on perspective. If you go this way, if you see this from the start, you can see where we've gone from sudden downpour, 45-degree angle rain, but it's like, well, I also want to demonstrate and show you that you can manipulate the weather. Don't be fooled to think that you have no power. You really do have equal power and greater power. Consider what is often talked about, the 1%. Well, when everything else in this reality is one of a perceived contrast, would there therefore not be a 1% on a benevolent side as opposed to a more malevolent side? And notice it's male, violent, malevolent. And what's associated with it being a patriarch structure to that side of things. But yes, going back to the point, and it's something I'm actually very much going through. Just like the computer game, the first level, you may get 1 or 2 turtles in Mario. I can't even remember. And then you've got the ultimate challenge at the end of the level, which is actually your shadow side. That is the most terrifying thing, when you recognize your own shadow and what that would be capable of if it was given life. It's a very interesting question that Lana A. Labonte put on a little video, because I said to her, I said, this voice message is gold. I said, turn it into a video, and she has, because it was a conversation we had between us, and she was saying, and this may explain the whole thing with the mind wipe between each incarnation. If everything in this realm is duality, what if each incarnation you can play either side? So you may be part of the elite in one lifetime, and then you're given the contrast in the next lifetime, because this thing called time seems to be wheels within wheels within wheels. If you look at what Archaic's channel shows with chronology and how things are just a series of loops, how things repeat and repeat and repeat, that again seems to follow the pattern. Excuse me, I just need to cough. And we got Damiana here now, and we got Junus as well. So all 3 of us are in the road. Now, that was another little thing. Now, if I'm rigid and fixed, and it's like I'm now, I'll just show you so you can see. Like, we are actually standing in the middle of the road. If I am that fixed and a car comes along, I may get the universe giving a response to something I may feel inside of, I don't want to be here anymore. The universe may actually respond to that, so I would recommend to lose all those thoughts and all those feelings and actually start to see this reality that it is one of contrasts, and you can overcome the challenges. I feel to some way I have proven that, because it can go either way with this weather, as you can probably see in the background here. You've got blue skies, you've got passing clouds, you've got some that have that sort of look of evil about them. But now, what do I do with that? Do I worry about it, that here it's going to suddenly start raining? Or do I vision that that is just going to pass over and we're going to get more of this blue stuff behind it? it does come down. Hi Tracy. Just seen the comments. I'm born poor and can't relate to, nor am I envious of the super rich. I see that as another species. Well, yeah, in some ways they are. It goes back to that when I was talking about the then rather than the now. That going back to that material catalogue shopping where you want to possess every item in that catalogue, just so because you can have it. But how much satisfaction do those things bring you? I would suggest with the flat pack furniture, the most enjoyable part, providing you'd actually opened up the box and you checked that you've got all the right number of screws. Generally there was often an extra one, but sometimes you would get a packet of screws and there'd be one less, and you don't want to be starting to put the thing together and find you don't have all the bits that you're supposed to have. So it was always a good idea to sort of look at the instructions, familiarize yourself with what you're going to do, and it's actually a very good lesson in that. Because it's learning by mistake. So what if you buy, say, a wardrobe or something from one of these catalogue shops, chipboard stuff with a wood laminate, cheap and nasty and not going to last that long really. But you go charging in, yeah, I can put this together, and oh, we haven't got enough parts. Well, there's a valuable lesson learned to make sure you've got all the ingredients you need to create that thing that you want, and drawing on the external to give you that material, as in the flat packed furniture. There was a time I would have liked a lot of that stuff, but not now. Yes, much love to you. Oh, Western Supermare, is that where you are? I hear stories about the UK and seaside resorts are not doing very well for tourists, and from what I can see, most towns have become a combination of boarded up shops, charity shops, pawnbrokers, kebab shops and such like, and very little else these days. It's but there again, can we complain about it? Because we're being shown a contrast here. There's two stories running. One is of a shrinking Amazon that is supposed to give us oxygen, and on the other, the contrast of that is, and I'd probably be the same if I'd actually published one. I could say I've written a book and you can buy it on Amazon. So you've got one Amazon, which is the life giver, that is shrinking, and you've got the material world Amazon, which seems to be expanding. That should tell you there's something seriously not right about this reality. There's your imbalance in the earth, I would suggest as well. Not an actual physical tilt, but more an imbalance between the positive and the negative. And thank you. Well, this is the thing, the analogies. You could say, if you break the word analogy, obviously it's got anal, and the ology part of it is the study of. But if we think without being crude, but if we think in terms of the root chakra, oh, here we go again with the rain. Oh dear. It's getting to the root of the problem, is the saying. So where do we start with that? Well, everything has to start from within. And I can give you my own testimony to that, because just like that computer game with the jumping over the turtles, I've been here for 2 years. I still have no income. I don't have any regular employment. I don't have much chance of getting any employment. Leaving aside all the red tape of the system, there's no sort of real nearby neighbours. And then what could I do? My health isn't that great. But I'm still here. See, when you go up to level 2 of Mario, you're going to get more turtles. But from the experience of level 1, you've gained and hopefully mastered arc and get right through level 1 really easy. So it becomes second nature. You could almost do it with your eyes closed if you did that game enough. And the same will happen with level 2. And you'll meet slightly harder challenges. Eunice is owing again. I don't know if you could hear him in the background there. Yeah, so it's very much like a computer game where the challenges don't go away. It's just how you perceive the challenges and how you can overcome them, which will then lead to level 3 and level 4. I've said this many times. It's like when you think you've got to the top of the mountain, how it turns out when the mist clears, you're just on a ledge, and then the mystery, the layer of the veil seems to move away. It's blown away. And you then look up and think, I've still got more to climb. But that's the time you can also go, comparison, you see. Look how far I've come, where I was before to where I am now. How exciting this next climb is going to be, going leveling up again. But that mountain peak, are we going to find it? I would suggest there is definitely a way to find it. The heart of Albion and London, the brain, could well be. Often the physiology does seem to be laid out from an aerial view of the geography. So you could think of the right and left hemispheres of the brain, and the pineal gland has been played out with something like the First World War. The central powers, the East and the West. That, I would suggest, is what is being shown from that theatre of war. Yeah, so the mountain, well, the monument of man, going back to right back to the start of this live, standing easy. So let's just go over this again. You're not doing the lockstep with a thud. We're going the way the beneficial unseen hand operates, the thing we call divine timing, the thing we call synchronicity. So what you do, you go from that standing to attention, just slide your foot. It's a more subtle vibration. Now you're standing easy, you're also sort of replicating, I don't think it's quite 51 degrees. I mean, don't try and do the splits or do it so it's uncomfortable. Just stand easy. So you relax into your structure. But there's a saying about when you do something that is wrong, but you don't know that it's wrong, like a child would do. You've never been told that something is wrong. You cannot really be held accountable. Obviously, there is a certain element of, if it's not coming from the heart, you should really, your conscience should tell you that anyway. But assuming that's all in place and is working how it is meant to work, there comes a point where the saying is drawing a line in the sand. Have we got anything we can improvise? No. Normally there's like a bit of fallen tree I could have actually done. I mean, it's easy to picture anyway. A line in the sand. So you draw a straight line. For me, that's been this whole thing with the legal straw man, the legal fiction. It's I know it's wrong and I'm not going to commit fraud, so that creates a challenge in itself. Because to still walk about in this reality is going to create a lot of new challenges. So you could say I've backed myself into a corner. So by drawing that line, look what you've created. There's your capstone inside. The Great Pyramid of Giza is, as I've said before, an architectural representation of humanity. It requires that chief cornerstone. As within, so without. So you don't want to be dying agnostic in this diagnostic zone. But it is somewhere we learn by mistakes, we gain experience, we come in this world with nothing, totally innocent, with a mind wipe. Now we learn and we grow and we take away the experiences. So if you can find your chief cornerstone inside yourself, then the aura you can strengthen up from this internal rebirth inside yourself, and then you can rebuild those casing stones. So just like that Great Pyramid of Giza, you will reflect. So anything that is thrown at you, these challenges, you will be able to reflect back and you'll be able to overcome them. I mean, it's as clear as day if you think about it. Where are the stars? At night we can see them, so presumably they're still there. But there is a greater light that outshines everything, which is the sun. And that's an expression of the internal sun from the... Well, there's a solar and a lunar plexus side by side, because we're in duality, in a realm of duality, because we have a light side and a dark side. It comes down to which one you're going to give life to. Your benevolent side or your self-serving malevolent side. So I feel that it may well be the case that we do the yin-yang thing, or at least have a choice. Maybe not at the core level of it. Maybe as like an outer level or an outer layer player. Things like politicians and such like, the expendables. Because just look how many of them, when they seem to have served their usefulness, are exposed in the media. There's obviously, it's held together by fear and threat as well. Because none of them seem to retire. It doesn't matter how old they get, they still seem to be sort of brought out the woodwork, as it were. Oh, I hope that wind isn't making that horrible crackle sound. Sorry, I'm just trying to read the comments here as well. Missing the mark, yes. That's something Neville Goddard would talk about, that the definition of sin. You create in the mind what you wish for. So you've created something. So you're the archer, but you become the arrow, and you plot the course, as it were, and you hold true to that course, like the terminology for maritime. But you become that arrow, you are the point, and you're going to hit the bullseye as long as you hold true to that. So regardless of what this external is presenting to you, I mean, every few weeks I'm faced with, you've got no income, what are you going to do for food? Well, what has come from that is the jumping of the turtles. I don't worry about it. I remember the future. I hold true to that feeling that everything is going to be fine. And I'm going to get not what I want, but what I need, because it is totally interactive, this reality. So, my own testimony of this is, maybe I've just sat on level 2 of the game for too long now. Maybe I need to start expanding and start visioning far bigger, because I would love to be in the other position, as it were, not the other side position, in the other position of having the finances to actually help others. But maybe I can do it in other ways anyway, not so material. Hopefully this will inspire you to find that power, because this actually came out in a conversation yesterday. This other person, they felt the lock. Like I said, this term gatekeeper, Thank you, JC. I know, I've had people say to me, "Oh, you helped me," and it's like, well, what did I do? I don't know what I'm supposed to have done, but thank you anyway. If you feel that, um, I lost my train of thought. That's the way it goes. Mind you, we're up to 45 minutes. That's quite long. I've also got to consider, although we're all right at the moment, and I have got. I did take active steps, as it were. So active steps with having this set up. Because it's like, well, I've said I'm going to do this. Unless it is really torrential rain, I feel I'd be letting everybody down. My word is my bond. I've got to put things into action. So if I say I'm going live, I'm going live. And I will change the weather to something more conducive. See, we haven't got rid of the clouds. We've gone for a compromise. And it's quite amazing watching the speed that they move as well. The funniest thing is, and I've actually witnessed this, where the higher clouds are going in one direction and the lower clouds are going in completely the opposite direction. It's like, how can any weather forecast be a forecast if that's the case? Dr. Feelgood, yay! Good to see you. Thank you for joining in. Actually, we're in double figures on viewers. Way, not that the numbers actually matter because this will be on a replay. It'll be on the channel anyway. But I thought I'd just share this convoluted sort of flow. It just sort of came. And all these little ingredients, it's like, so we're going from a song by the Doors to Monty Python, now for something completely different, to Argos catalogue shopping and East European cars. And then talking about computer games and how this is very much like a computer game in which cloud busting, yes. Now that's sparked something in the mind. Kate Bush. There is a song she did called Cloud Busting, and the words actually start of that song something on the lines of, I believe in organon. Well, orgonite is a crystal that's supposed to retain memory. So there's something in that to be found. It's like True Love Channel says, there is one story being played out, which is the alchemical marriage between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And this external interactive world will reflect this to you over and over again. The easiest way to explain it is if you have that experience, if you hear a song and that 100th time, there's maybe just one line in that song, you suddenly hear it in a different way, like the snake is long, 7 miles long in the Doors, because it's referring to the chakra system inside you, because it is all an inside job, and this is something else that is reflected in the external. The whole world is run on a fraudulent contract system, and it does contract. It is a con and it is a restriction, it's a constriction, so it is like a boa constrictor. So there's another serpent being shown to you there, because the yin and yang, and you think about the twin caduceus. Well, it makes sense it's a twin caduceus because we're not just weaving and seeing both sides, but there's, well, I'd say you can witness it playing out. You have the hidden hand, which is displayed when two world leaders get together, and the big thing made about the handshake when they meet. But there's a far more subtle one, which is why I said about do the stand easy, not with the sort of military thud, where that sort of mechanical movement, but just a more gradual sliding movement into that stand easy position, because it's still putting a vibration. By saying this, I'm putting as a disturbance into the ether, as it is. I'm putting something out there into the universe. It's an experiment. Oh, that was the other thing. I did wonder how many people had the thought that I might actually be in Stonehenge. But if you think about it, Stonehenge, what does it mean? It's like saying brick public house. Well, yes, it's standing stones. A henge is a circle, so it's a circle of stones. So I could, theoretically, although I can't be bothered, and it doesn't seem to serve any real purpose, I could get a load of stones and I could make a circle and say I'm in Stonehenge, but not the one in Salisbury Plain. We're not at the Stonehenge, we're at a Stonehenge, you could say. But the A, there's the A is the alpha, the first. It's also representing that chief cornerstone, the one to find inside yourself. When you draw that line, which creates a new challenge with the external world, which potentially sort of backs you into a corner. This is a situation I find myself in, and it's fabulous. Don't get me wrong, it comes with that, all the challenges of where do we go from here, as it were. But how we feel about those challenges goes from one of, oh shit, and one of negativity to, oh, how exciting. And it's like, well, is it not the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result? We have a car coming. See, not going to be run over. Wow, that's incredible. That's 2 cars since doing this video. So that's 2 cars in an hour. Must be rush hour. That's how good it gets around here. Apart from the Jeep tours, you might get 3 or 4 all come past. But generally, this is as noisy as it gets here. This is a peaceful place. So as a sort of reminder to what I've previously said on videos, there is an open invitation just to have a holiday, just to get away from it all, to really feel and be in nature. It is wonderful therapy. So it's an open invitation to any one of you. It's a chance to sample off-grid living, to see how, by sort of modern day standards, how primitive it can seem. Because with the less resources, it comes with a balance. I now have more time on my hands, but it means I've got to do hand washing. But that's not actually such a chore, because it's actually quite therapeutic. You can sort of meditate. You can make the thing, even washing up plates and things, you can make it in, so it becomes second nature. So you're not consciously really doing that. In the same way, when you've mastered driving a vehicle, that you're having a conversation with someone, or maybe even having an argument with someone, and you're still driving. Or you may be lost in the music that's coming through on the radio or whatever in the vehicle, but you're still able to drive. You still function. It's become second nature through the repetition. So there's the pattern for also turning your life around, for finding that chief cornerstone inside yourself. And nothing actually changes in the physical as such, apart from the interactions you will have, because we're in the world of the living. So it will involve living beings. It will involve the divine timing. You will see the synchronicities. People will say, oh, it's just coincidence, which is actually true, because it is a series of things that happen where there seems to be no apparent connection. And that's the key word, because there is no apparition. You don't actually see that benevolent hidden hand working. What are these two doing now? Fighting. But you will see the results of it. They are there to be seen, and it is a beautiful experience. And you can look back at the end of each day and say, wow. And that's all I do. really. I go about with whatever I'm doing with remembering the end of each day. Because it's the first calendar system, the evening and the morning was the first day. So we go with that. We just work on the calendar of take one day at a time. So at the end of each day, I can then look back at the day and say, that was pretty good. If this is the last one, that was a pretty good one to go out on. I've witnessed this divine timing in the way things come. It doesn't have to be big things. It can be little things. It could be, I don't know, walking up to Monchique and somebody's dropped a 50 euro cents coin. It may be just what I needed. I may have only 50 euro cents in change, but that other 50 euro cents would then allow me to buy a coffee at Monchique because they're €1 and it's cash only. They don't take cards, which is quite interesting. It sort of bucks the trend, but this is Portugal. I mean, how many other places could you make a video standing in the road? I mean, in some ways it would have been nice if it was a tarmacked, much wider road, because then we could really put things to the test. I'm not saying try this, but seeing it happen in so many films, you've got the big trucks, the articulated trucks, or to put it in the American terminology, with the semi-trailers, and they do that hard braking, what you call an emergency stop, and of course the trailer swings round and the wheels are locked. And I don't know if it's possible to do these days, because they normally got guardrails just to mess things up, but all you do in that case, you've got the trailer wheels on that side, you've got the tractor unit wheels on that side, so you've got the middle of the trailer coming at you. So all you do, you just glide under and you come out the other side. You just got to glide, you've got to go with the flow and not get caught up in that 40 tons or whatever that's coming towards you. So, well, we're nearly up to an hour. I think that's going to be long enough for one go, because I've got to come back on again at 5. The reason I'm doing that is because the biggest percentage of my audience on this channel comes from the United States, which makes sense because of the number of people in the United States compared to the UK. So I'm going to end this here, and then I will be back on 5 o'clock UK time, which, if I've calculated this right, the east coast of the United States, that will be midday. So it'll still be 12 noon, because we're in a double sort of reality where there is time and yet there is no time at the same time, because we're walking in two worlds. So I thought, well, we'll go with that. We'll use the resources we've got. We'll do the braking pattern. We'll do that, and now for something completely different. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for those that have joined. Hi, Mama Cat Sovine and JC, Teleporting Rabbit. What a brilliant name. Just don't go too deep in the rabbit holes. Just go in deep enough to recognize the pattern with things, because have you ever come across anybody that's actually come out of these things and said, I found the answer, I've got to the bottom of the rabbit hole? They seem to be a mocking sort of contrast that is showing infinity. You end up getting lost down that maze, amazed at all the things, because it's an interactive realm, so you will find confirmation of whatever you're looking into. You'll find validation. The system will provide. Oh, here we go again with the rain. So I think that is a good time to stop now. So thank you very much for joining. I hope you've enjoyed this. And hi, Squirrel Sniper. Thank you for joining. We'll go back under the parasol, which is our outside broadcasting unit. Actually, look, you've even got something replicating the mechanism of what is actually behind that blue because it isn't what we're told. I say this because I have seen it. I was shown this, that we are in something like an eggshell, and oh dear, we didn't account, oh dear, didn't account for the weight. You know what it's like when these umbrellas, the wind gets under them and it blows them into, that's better. Yeah, we're very much inside of like an eggshell. There are things outside of it. The closest I can describe it is, it's like one of those 64-leg microprocessors, but it's more than a microprocessor, and that's not the only thing outside of this construct. But trying to find words to even describe what I was shown, that's a challenge. It's something I may have to put out to the universe and say, I need a way to share this. But I put that down to divine timing of things. When that is meant to happen, it will happen. We have a very wet Damiana here, whose fur now resembles a hedgehog. Just checking the comments. Yep, it's all about resonance, re-sun ants. The system regards us as ants, participants, occupants. Bug's Life, the Disney Pixar film, is a huge documentary truth drop as well. Oh, 10 PM here in Australia. Well, sweet dreams, and you can always watch this on the replay. It's not time sensitive exactly, so. But yeah, it's an interactive realm. But if you can find that chief cornerstone inside yourself, you form your individualized great pyramid of man, the monument of man inside yourself. Whether you're in a male or a female form, it's the generic term we're using here. I feel that you'll be able to interact in a very different way with this world, and the negativity won't have the same impact because you'll be repairing your aura. And that is exactly how we get out of this anyway. We Mary Celeste out of this reality because our frequency will change so greatly. And the early signs are a lot of people would tune into, may happen to see this video, not likely, but someone who's really in the believing everything that they're told on the television, and they'd probably say, what's he talking about, or it's just a load of woo-woo. So they're already on there's the earliest signs of being on a different frequency. It's moving into a completely different language, although it is the same language if they're speaking English. So imagine the potential of where that could go, where you just ghost out. So there really is nothing to fear about what is coming. Yep, the archetype of inner self. That's basically what the pyramid is. It's finding that chief cornerstone inside yourself and putting yourself back together. I mean, it's described as the birth from above, the white dove coming down, but of course equally you've got to go through that drudge, so you become the phoenix that rises from the ashes. So that's the kundalini rising that goes up the spine, up to pineal. Same function in that great pyramid of Giza that is being shown. Cats are our loving supervisors. They certainly are. I feel that they are sent as spiritual guardians. They have comparatively short lives, but they just like being around me, which is lovely. So even though it's raining, they still come out. I don't know if they're still... No, I think they've actually gone in now. But it's probably about the time that they'll be wanting some of the wet food. They do like that, so I think I'm going to give them, open a tin of tuna for them. So yeah, we've gone over the hour now. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and listen. It can be a bit, especially in the early days of doing videos, a bit disheartening when you're actually just talking to yourself or just looking at yourself on the screen and you don't know if you're going to get any viewers at all. But we just keep going and watch things grow. Hi Randy, you just caught the tail end, but I'm coming back in, it'll be 4 hours time from now. So just going to end this here, and I'm going to say unconditional love to you all, and thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate the comments. Keep them coming. And I'm going to end on one final note. Do you have any questions? You might want to break down asking questions as well. Little spoiler alert, I did do a breakdown of that in, I think it was the last video or the one before anyway, so you won't have to be sort of puzzling over what that is, but just break it down by the syllables and see what you can get out of that, because that is a huge clue. Again, it's something the education system does not encourage, to ask questions, because you'll then be disruptive. But that is how we learn, is by asking questions. We're here to gain experience, we're here to have a beautiful experience, but things have happened, so we have the contrast, but that is how we find the beautiful experiences. Right, that is it. Quest Ion, you've got it. Well done, JC. And yeah, it'd be lovely to read from you later on, Randy. Ooh. If we still got a parasol left by then, and we'll have to do the manifesting thing with the weather, so maybe in the next couple of hours I'll have to manifest the rain to get it out the way, so it's more like this when I'm back on in 4 hours. So, as always, and now I can actually say it live, love to you all. Right, how do we stop this now? That's the next thing. I think it's this button here.